You had to be early today. Yeah, look, I don't know if you went back to watch the rest of it, but we finished the book of Wars yesterday. So today, beautiful people, we start in the book of Lika, son of Jehovah. So let's get started. Happy Thursday, everybody. We're going to be here tomorrow, right? We're going to take our day off because it's the first Sabbath of this moon cycle. So happy Thursday. It is August the 4th, 2022, day 177 of year 4, reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1195. Today, like I said, we're starting the book of Lika, son of Jehovah, on page 388. Father, we thank you for continuing on in the truth. Girl, just switch your eyes at me. Tabitha, grand rising, grand rising. All right, I thought she had failed. She just smacked her hands against that chair. She pushing around through here. Okay, y'all, so thank you. All right, y'all, page 388. Let's get started. At the top, Book of Lika, son of Jehovah. And here is the little subheading that they have under the title. It says, known in heaven as Dawn, D-A-W-N, Dawn of Bon, B-O-N, and on earth as the cycle of Moses, Capelia, and Chime. Jehovah said, I gave unto the earth a time of full earthhood, and that the generations of men might know the period thereof. Behold, I caused man to build a pyramid in the middle of the world, for it was my mark that from that time henceforth man should turn from stone temples and the hope of everlasting flesh life to rejoice in spiritual abodes in my ethereal heavens. And I brought the earth out of darkness and encompassed it around about with the dawn of Bon. All right, so chapter 1 begins. Verse 1. In the far-off Etherian worlds spake the voice of Jehovah, saying, Lika, Lika, my son, behold the red star. Remember, the red star is the earth, right? And it says it. I should have just kept reading. Behold, the red star, the earth. She cometh thy way. She mergeth dark and soiled from the forests of Ga and the swamps of Manasseh. She will cross thy Etherian fields, the Oahspe and Opal and Widojane, dripping with the odor and dross of the Gian swamps. Ooh. Go thou to her and wash clean her soil and her atmosphere in heavens. Lika said, Alas, O Jehovah, how they have forgotten thee. I will go to the red star, the earth, O Father. I will deliver her into purity and faith. Thy chosen shall be delivered from bondage, thy God made triumphant on earth and in her heavens. Lika called to his high council, his Etherian kingdom, Veta Puisa, in the plains of Peoria, off the roads of Atagan Nasis, at the high ark of Bon, made light by the holy angels of tens of thousands of years. And he said, Behold, the red star, the earth. The voice of Jehovah came to me, saying, Go thou to her, O my son, and wash clean her soil and her atmosphere in heavens. And I said, I will go, Father, O Father. I will deliver her into purity and faith. Lika said, 500 million Etherian hosts will I take with me. For 5 years and 40 days will I and my host sojourn on the red star and in her heavens. Her true God shall be restored and delivered in my name by Jehovah's hand, according to the rank of harvest of the gardens of Hanyan. So shall my marshals choose and record my hosts. Then spake the council, the historians of the Etherian libraries of the Vorkman Road, where hath traveled the earth for tens of thousands of years, and they detailed the affairs of the earth for many cycles past, made plain before the gods assembled, all the doings of the earth and her heavens. Then Lika sent swift messengers off to the earth and her heavens. In arrow ships of fire they sped forth 20,000, well skilled in coursing the ethereal heavens and penetrating the atmospheric vortices of traveling stars, to obtain the details of her God and her false gods, her lords and false lords, her hadas and her hells, to scan her libraries and hastily return to Veda Puisa to lay the matters before the High Council and Lika, the Nirvanian chief, on Jehovah's throne. Lika was sprung from the corporal star Atos, which traverseth the roads Yatas Ko-Owen of the south circuit of Thos, the vortex of another far-off sun, and was raised to Etheria in the cycle of Seka, 125,000 years, by Methia, goddess of Oriyi, afterward chieftainess of Yeuna Gamaya. And Lika rose to be god of Avalasak, 4,000 years, god of Kema, 6,000 years, inspector of Judas's Ethereal robes at the Aegean swamps of Henasset, 15,000 years, surveyor of Ewalt, 2,000 years, surveyor of the Wacha excursion, 4,000 years. Y'all, we got a whole long time ahead of us. Listen, so like we are literally just starting out here. And this is probably the place we at the shortest amount of time. Surveyor of the Wacha excursion, 4,000 years. Recorder of Hitti Somat, 8,000 years. Deliverer of Habian vortices, 26,000 years. Measurer of densities in A blank, 1,000 years. Recorder of the ratio T Yivi, 2,000 years. God of the home plains of Tiveris, 12,000 years. Chief of Mahaduin, 20,000 years. And chief of Veda Puisa, 25,000 years. Lika had for his high council 30,000 chieftains and chieftainesses of grades of more than 100,000 years in the Ethereal worlds, 500,000 of the rank of inspectors, 7 million of the rank of gods and goddesses, and of the rank of lords and lordesses, more than half a million. More than half 1,000 million. Of the Rapon host, there were 7 chiefs and 9 chieftainesses who were Lika's private companions. First, Repsad, chief of Sotisav, 40,000 years. Sufristor of Shelves, I'm sorry, that don't say shelves, that says Shelevs, Sheleves, Shelevs or Shaleves. It's one of the two. Sufristor of Shaleves, 60,000 years. Marshal of Zeli-Oxy, 20,000 years. Master of Basayan, 70,000 years. And he passed 20,000 years on the journey of Lusoitavrajinia, besides thousands of other journeys of less duration. Next to Ripsad was Yanodi, chieftainess of Uri, 70,000 years. Chieftainess of the roads of Tamaya, 70,000 years. Marshalless of Pentanasa, 40,000 years. Goddess of the G.A.N. forest of Luluwaga, 65,000 years. Besides goddess of Mor, goddess of Chichi Jinashma, goddess of El, and of Ruwamba, and of Z. Next to Yanodi was Thazid. Where did they come up with these names? They really just making sounds. That's what they're doing. Verse 14, page 391. Next to Yanodi was Thazid, goddess of Zoleth, matricitus of Yithkad, chieftainess of Hagu, chieftainess of Debar, and of Hachul, and of the roads of Oliaskevidho, besides goddess of more than 100 Etherian worlds. Then came Thoso, chief of Kasara, and Das Samats, 90,000 years. God of Sussex, 7,000 years. God of Chinisa, God of Hosora, God of Phoeben, God of Hotab, each 6,000 years. Surveyor of the Lymphian roads, 12,000 years. Marker of meteors, 2,000 years. Fireman of Thostus on the Ibean excursion, 30,000 years. Next to Thoso came Nienti, chieftainess of Gaul and Sanaptis, in whose dominions the star Telemos was ouzated, and ouzated is dissolved without being. Next to Thoso came Nienti, chieftainess of Gaul and Sanaptis, whose dominions the star Telemos was ouzated, dissolved without being, when Gelu opened the road of Ingixis Ustus for the Nizegi vortices of Mesak, chieftainess of Lamgu and Cud, goddess of Idzi, goddess of Asham and of the Baxgor wing, goddess of the Duik swamps, and lordess of Sus and Havrij, in all 107,000 years. Chamagius stood next. She was chieftainess of Horsad and Tu, and Okadad, goddess of Ashti and Hid, and Sheagus and Jagri, surveyor of Avrat and the Badhuan roads, surveyor of Ankas, surveyor of the Hand Mountains in the Etherian Uj of Drijli, in all 260,000 years. Y'all, just sorry ahead of time for screwing these names up. Verse 18, page 391. Next stood Murdhana, chieftainess. Oh, it's a lot of females up in this joint. Next stood Murdhana, chieftainess of Duhop and Hindi. Hindi is HEN-DHI. And Hindi, chieftainess of Hapa and Hirish, surveyor of Sefer and Dhaka, inspector of Anachu and Zadon, and Edau and Meditisha. Hey. Surveyor of the Han Mountains in the Etherian Uj of Drijli, in all 260,000 years. Next stood Murdhana, chieftainess of Duhop and Hindi, chieftainess of Hapa and Hirish, surveyor of Sefer and Dhaka, inspector of Anachu and Zadon, and Edu and Medtisha and Roth, in all 90,000 years. Auntie Grant rising. Key. I'm trying to read and say shalom at the same time. Shalom, she said, dissolve without being. Okay. Let me go back. Verse 19, page 391, y'all. Oshor stood next, chief of Outsi and of Yotek and of Samoan and of Yadaka, maker of the bridge of Weetsi, marshal of the Han Laguth expedition, and besides these places, God of 7 Etherian worlds, in all 12,000 years. Next came Yehoah, chief of Shunghau, and Agon, chief of Neosin, god of Izihah, and Kaon, and Aso, and Una, and Yukon, and Aghum. He was also the builder of the Raxon Etherian arches in all 90,000 years.
Jackson David keeps on pulling my laptop off the table.
Well, before you go to bed, you should close it up in its case and put it up when he can't get to it. Page 392. Tabitha. Look, this is worse than reading through Chronicles and stuff. Okay, 392. Verse 21. Hisson was next, chief of the Keonis belt, where Yagota, the Orion chief, walled the plains of Maga, the Nirvanian home of the delivered Hells of Mina 500,000 years before. Hisson was here nicknamed Creator of Wit because of establishing his chieftaincy on the ruins of Hell. He was also chief of Mamsa and Jauat, god of Ga, and of Dara, the region of fountain flowers, in all 90,000 years. Bowen was next, chief of Afaha, formerly the farms of Lungwan and Srid, chief of Vadhua, and of the valleys of Nasquam, where 1,000,000 years before the chief of Chaksa disrupted the atmospherian Sakri and liberated from its 4,000 hells more than 30,000 million angel slaves in chaos. Bowen had also served as god of Ammon and Havat and Shido and Pivan, and as a measurer of Praka and Zuri and Asthus, surveyor of Ulam and Shiam and Chose and Zadok in all 80,000 years. Guangu was next. She was chieftainess of Andal, the place of the one-time apex of the Korogwan vortex, whereat was formed the star Ogitas, and sent on its course by Aklon Guin, Orion Himmer of Shigowisa. This vortex, when first formed by Eklon Guin, was 300,000 million miles long and was commentary 30,000 years in Aklon Guin's hands. Guangu was also chieftainess of Asatha and Wagon, goddess of Anoa and of Haugil and of Zahav in all 190,000 years. Gi Hugan was next, chieftainess of Sumatri in the byroads of Yo Targus, chieftainess of the 4 Etherian worlds, Yoni, Og, Theum, and Wakas, surveyor of Unshin, Zarihia, and Kinteri, inspectress of Sagus, and Hagimal, and Hafha, and Borax, and Rab, and Shorlu in all 80,000 years. Next stood, hold on, how many people was in his personal entourage? Hold on. He said it was like 9 next to him, something like that. Because apparently they can go through every one of them. Okay, hold on. Verse 25. Next stood Bakni Isish, chief of Yahalam, where the Geen maker Tarmoth cleared the forest of the Ajian Haloth in making a roadway for a Havalad's group of Shemasian corporal stars. in which labor he employed 90,000 million Nirvanians for 4,000 years, and the distance of the road was more than 100,000 million miles. Bachni Isij was chief of Agwan, and Shonastus, and Hador, and Ad, god of Vak, and of Kuja, and Re, and Kathab, and Sinab, and Bud, and Abir, measurer of the mountains of the Etherian worlds, Vishha, and Hakan, and Dis, measurer of the arches in the Etherian worlds, Nikish, constructor of the plains in the Nirvanian world, Cham, in all 130,000 years. Rehim was next, chieftainess of Otaskaka, commonly called World of Shining Waters, a great visiting place in Nirvania. She was goddess of Thesapalas and Timax, where of Shup's Howit in the Ophel plains in all 110,000 years. Then stood Antosiv, goddess of Mun, renowned because she was of 260,000 years and had declined exaltation above the rank of goddess. Such then were the Rapon hosts. Whew, okay. Chapter 2, page 393. Far and wide spread the words of Lika, words of Jehovah over the plains of Poya, first highest light in Ethera, where traveled the earth and her heavens. Far off toward the northern group of twinkling stars gazed the Etherian millions, rose the voice of millions. Where is the red star? Where lieth the earth and her troubled heavens? Is not this the young star, a satellite that traveleth within a Hydan sun? What is the angle and course of this little traveling world, that our eyes may feast on the road where soon our chief will send Jehovah's redeeming ships? Then they pointed, surmising by the red light color and tedious motion, which was the earth, one of the small gems that Jehovah had placed in the measureless firmament. And they gazed thereupon, speaking with souls of delight. Thou art great, O Jehovah, to build so wide, to stud the Etherian worlds with gems like these, to provide a place for the souls of men to germinate. That's exactly what's happening here. The earth is a womb. Mom, shalom, shalom. Y'all drive safe this morning. Listen. Let me read this again. This is beautiful. Verse 2, page 393, chapter 2. Then they pointed, surmising by the red light color and tedious motion, which was the earth, one of the small gems that Jehovah had placed in the measureless firmament. They gazed thereon, speaking with souls of delight. Great art thou, O Jehovah, to build so wide, to stud the Etherian worlds with gems like these, to provide a place for the souls of men to germinate. That kind of might be our title today. Oh, yeah. Like we Muslim. Because we not. Don't let the head wrap fool you. Hold on. Okay. Great art thou, O Jehovah, to build so wide, to stud the Etherian worlds with gems like these, to provide a place for the souls of men to germinate. Surely her people, the sons and daughters of the red star, must behold Etheria, must realize the difference betwixt a short corporal life and this endless paradise. I gotta highlight that too. Oh, this is good. Let me just read the whole verse. Y'all, this is getting good. I'm just kind of reading ahead with what they're saying. Okay. Verse 2. Then they pointed, surmising by the red light color and tedious motion, which was the earth, one of the small gems that Jehovah had placed in the measureless firmament, and they gazed thereon, speaking with souls of delight. Great art thou, O Jehovah, to build so wide, to stud the Ethereal worlds with gems like these, to provide a place for the souls of men to germinate. Surely her people, the sons and daughters of the red star, must behold Etheria, must realize the difference betwixt a short corporal life and this endless paradise. Can it be that they have in their small heavens unscrupulous false lords and false gods, who have set themselves up to be worshipped as creators, whom mortals name with bated breath? And have they too a host of saviors who profess to have the key to all the roads that lead into this great expanse, the Ethereal worlds? Some excuse mortals who are brought forth to life on the central suns to be stubborn in their egotism of their lords and saviors and gods. But on one so small like the earth, how can it be? Like, how do y'all even have the audacity to do this? Y'all like the smallest out of all the gems. How? Let's go. We about to wake them up. Let's go. Listen. Can it be that they have in their small heavens unscrupulous false lords and false gods, who have set themselves up to be worshipped as creators, whom mortals name with bated breath? And have they too a host of saviors who profess to have the key to all the roads that lead into this great expanse, the Ethereal worlds? Some excuse mortals who some excuse mortals have, who are brought forth to life on the central suns, to be stubborn in their egotism of their lords and saviors and gods. But on one so small like the earth, how can it be? Then came back Lika's swift messengers in their arrow ships, messengers attained to be very gods in wisdom and in swiftness. And they quick told the tale about their visit to the red star and her heavens, told how the true God, son of Jehovah, had struggled on, but had been outmatched by all odds by self-gods and self-lords, who had plunged thousands of millions of hapless souls into torturing hells. And this news Lika spread abroad in his Ethereal dominions, which only needed to be told once, for every sympathetic soul by his shocked appearance told it to others, the like of which spread instantly to thousands of millions of high-raised Ethereans. And when Lika said, 500 million angels shall go with me to the troubled earth and her heavens, in double quick time, the volunteers were ready to be enrolled on the list. Then Lika inquired more fully of the swift messengers, and they answered him, saying, This, O Lika, son of Jehovah, the earth hath passed her corporal maturity, and mortals have set up a pyramid to mark the time thereof. The days of the highest, greatest audacity of the self-gods are past, and are memorized by the pyramid also. For in that self-same time they taught mortals to worship the God and the Lord and the Savior instead of the great Spirit Jehovah. But darkness is upon the self-gods, and they are bound in hells, and mortals are also bound in hells. Behold, this is the first dawn of Dan on the earth, since she passed the limit of her greatest corporality. Shayla, hey girl, hey, that's Fabu. Jan, Grand Rising. All right, y'all, chapter 3, page 394. Lika said to his chief marshal, Enroll thou my host, 500 million, and appoint unto them captains and generals, and grade them and apportion them. Besides these, give me 1 million singers, 1 million trumpeters, 1 million attendants, 1 million heralds, 1,000,000 messengers, and 1,000,000 recorders and waiters. Lika called his chief builder and said unto him, Build me a fire ship, an Aravagna, with capacity for 1,000,000,000, and provide thou the ship with officers and workmen sufficient. Consult thou with my mathematicians as to the distance of the red star, and as to the densities through which the ship shall pass, and as to the power required and the time of the journey, and provide thou all things sufficient therefore. Then Lika spake to the high council, saying, For the time of my absence, my vice chief, he woo, shall hold my place, touching matters whereof ye desire my voice before I go, speak ye. Atunzi said, Behold, O Lika, the star Yatis headeth towards the Asian forest of Aktawa, and she hath not passed the Isparan age. Lika said, To clear the forest, Aktawa, I appoint Ishivi, goddess, with 3,000,000,000 laborers. Ishivi, how sayest thou? Ishivi said, Thanks to Jehovah and to thee, O Lika, I will at once choose my laborers and proceed to make the road. 1, 2 said, Erst thy return, O Lika, the Hapsen-Ogam vortex will cross the south fields in Veda Puisa. She hath 20,000,000,000 souls in grades of 60 and 70. Lika said to her assistants for 3 years, I appoint Tiki King, God, with 50,000,000 for his host. And after to her assistants for 3 years, after years is reference letter A. Yes, son.
Whose are these?
I don't know. I've never seen them. Okay, and so the references for the book of Lika is on page 444, and there is one reference, and that's this one, A. And it says, Era is ER-A-A. Era is equivalent to 3 years of the earth. To make most of these times intelligible to the student. Okay. To make most of these times intelligible to the student, I have reduced the panic words to English years of the earth. English edition. This footnote in the 1882 edition implies that the original text had panic numbers which were edited out before the first edition was published. Okay. Okay, right. To her assistance for 3 years. Okay. So he said all of the numbers, like you got dog years. I'm like, okay, how many years is that in human years? 4. Oh, great. Why don't you just say 4 years? Why do we even got to have dog years? That's my whole thought about that. So that's what he did. He took the panic years and just converted it to earth years, because that's what we understand. So we ain't got to do all this, All right, so y'all get it. Verse 5, I'll read it over. Page 394. 1-2 said, Erst thy return, O Lika, the Hapa-se-Ogan vortex will cross the south fields of Veda Puisa. She hath 20,000,000,000 souls in grades of 60 and 70. Lika said to her assistants for 3 years, I appoint Tiki King, or it could be Tissy King, God, with 50,000,000 for his host. How sayest thou, Tissy King? Tissy King said, By the grace of Jehovah, I rejoice in this labor. In sufficient time, I will prepare my host and accomplish what thou hast given into my keeping. Wathalawosit said, In 4 years, the hosts of Ewin will return from the double stars, Eleb and Wis, with their harvest of 40,000,000,000 angels. Yes.
But then he still took shower.
So why y'all get up first thing in the morning choosing violence? Is he even woke?
He just went outside.
Oh, that was him that ran past me. Okay, that's fine. I'll talk to him in a minute. All right.
We just woke up, made up our bed. I'm about to go upstairs, brush my teeth, wash my face. Our bedroom made up pretty good.
So did I see him make his bed? He just got right up and ran out the house.
He made his bed, but he also ran out without taking a shower.
Yeah, we'll talk about this in a minute.
Mom,
What?
who's are these?
I just told you I don't know who. Let me see.
Goku is smoking.
I don't know. Maybe it's Jeremiah's. I don't know.
All of these pictures, even Hello Kitty is smoking.
Then they probably what is in the packet? First of all, they smoking. What is in this?
Probably stickers.
No, I don't think so. Where y'all find this at?
On the table. They were just sitting.
On the table where?
All we were doing was just looking at the pictures.
No, I think this belongs to Elijah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hold on to this.
That's cool.
There was something in this packet. I'll hold on to that. Thank you.
What?
Get out of here.
What?
Bye.
What did Mama do that packet?
My oldest son. Y'all see that? I'm sure he had a little bit of Mary Jane in here. I'm almost positive of it. How sayest thou, Tissy King? Tissy King said, by the grace of Jehovah, I rejoice in this labor. In sufficient time, I will prepare my host and accomplish what thou hast given into my keeping. Wothalawosit said, in 4 years, the host of Ewin will return from the double stars, Eleb and Wis, with their harvest of 40,000 million angels. How shall they be apportioned? Lika said, to Manasseh, 6,000 million, to Opal, 2,000 million, to Wodijane, 5,000 million, to Eosta, 2,000 million, to Fubin Rhodes, 7,000 million, to Zekel, 4,000 million, to Huron, 3,000 million, to Poiga, 6,000 million, to Ulit, 1,000 million, and to Zulava, 4,000 million. And I appoint Misata, goddess, to provide the places in these several heavens for them, and to have charge of their selection and allotment. And I give to her 500 million angels for her laboring host. How sayest thou, Misata? Misata said, it is Jehovah's gift. I am rejoiced. I will prepare myself and my host. Yeah, I know, right? The pleasure of having kids of all age ranges. But I'm gonna need him to keep his little stuff like this, like off the dining room table. I'm almost positive he was sitting in there rolling up and just left it sitting on the table. And the kids found it. Okay. Shoot, verse 7, 395. Ching Huan said, behold, the world star, Isadas in her Simuan age will cross the roads of Veuis in 3 years hence. Lika answered Ching Huan, saying, to cross these roads of light in her Simuan age would blight her power to bring forth animal life sufficient unto her wide continents. The trail must be filled with Simuan forest to preserve her gestative season. To this labor I appoint Ayi Lakak, god of Estadas, Simuan forest in the roads of Veuis, 4,000 years. And I allot to Eolakak 6,000 million laborers. How sayest thou, Leolakak? He answered, this is a great labor. By the wisdom and power of Jehovah, I will accomplish it. Viaga Indras said, in 2,000 years, the fleets of Leogastribans will return from their voyage of 4,000 years, bringing 2,000 million guests from the Inni-Guianas regions. Who shall provide for their reception? Lika said, yes.
We don't need that. We don't need that though, because Elijah said things are his.
I figured that out. I got it. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. Don't worry about it.
Well, you already gave all the other ones to them.
Okay, I'll give him this one.
They go to the shower.
Verse 8. Vega Indras said, in 2 years, the fleet of Leo-Gastribians will return from their voyage of 4,000 years, bringing 2,000 million guests from the Iguanas regions. I probably said that different the first time. Who shall provide for their reception? Lika said, Yenopstan with 10 million hosts. How sayest thou? Yenopstan said, a most welcome labor, O Lika. His Joso said, the arches of Rasitissa, the Etherian world of Yongsi's plains, will be to cast in 4 years. Lika said to Sutu's 6 million arches, and to Evigi 4 million arches, and to each of them 100 million laborers. How say ye? Then spake Sutut and Evigi, saying, by the help of Jehovah, the labor will be accomplished. So we still doing turnover. We introducing everybody. Trina, hey girl, hey. We introducing everybody. Spiritual light shop. Shalom. So you know they doing turnover. They leaving different people in charge before the journey starts, right? So hang in there. This is like the begots and stuff chapters in the Bible, right? Verse 10. Sacha said, the star world, Nito, will be to turn on her axis in 2 years hence, in which time she will pass through the south fields of Oahspe. Lika said, this will be a great labor, and I appoint Urasas with Salas to accomplish it. And I give to them 3 years with 4,000 million laborers. How say ye? Then answered Urasas and Salas, saying, with fear and trembling we rejoice at this great work. By Jehovah's wisdom and power we shall accomplish it. After this manner, Lika made more than 1,000 appointments to be accomplished ere he returned from the earth and her heavens. But ordinary matters he left with his vice chief, Wu, and to the high council, the select 10 million. Jehovah had said, even as I provided a little labor unto mortals to develop the talents I created withal, so in like manner, and after the same like, but spiritually, provided I greater labor unto the high risen inhabitants in my Etherian worlds. For which reason, let my children learn the secret of harmonious and united labor with one another. This is beautiful. Look. I was just about to say something before I read this verse. I was about to say, it seemed like everybody getting a chance to handle the unruly child, right? The earth being the unruly child. You know, you always got that one in the family, right? That one little hard head that everybody's like, oh my God, I'll watch them, but that child you're going to have to take with you, right? Earth is like that child, right? You know that child that you got to buy them book bag leashes and put on? Yeah, that child. Trina, I'm so late today. I have a puppy named Stitch. Girl, when you get a puppy? And he is a mess in the morning. Well, all the time. I be running late. Girl, me and you both. You know we be like 7:15-ish. I'm getting better about my time, y'all. Like, I'm going to start being here at least 5 minutes early before 7:15. Because that's in my mind every morning. I'm here early. But really, I still be running 5 minutes behind, right? Running through here like I ain't been up. Like, I'm really learning how to triage my time a little bit better, right? Okay. Gloria, good morning. Okay, y'all. I'm going to read verse 12 again, page 395. Jehovah had said, even as I provide a little labor unto mortals. Hold on, did I read? must have blanked out when I said this verse. Listen, all right, let me read again. Jehovah had said, even as I provided a little labor unto mortals to develop the talents I created withal, so in like manner, after the same like, but spiritually, provided I greater labor. Oh, I read this. I remember the last part, but not the beginning. Let me start again. Jehovah had said, even as I provided a little labor unto mortals to develop the talents I created withal, so in like manner, and after the same like, but spiritually provided I greater labor unto the high risen inhabitants in my ethereal worlds. For which reason, let my children learn the secret of harmonious and united labor with one another. I gave labor to man. Y'all, that is not even mine.
Please.
It's not mine.
Please.
You can't ask me. I can't give you something that don't belong to me.
Please.
Go find out who it belongs to and ask them.
Please.
For which reason, let my children learn the secret of harmonious and united labor with one another. I gave labor to man. The ice maker. For which reason, let my children learn the secret of harmony. Boy! Get out of here, Josiah. You did that on purpose. Let me just read the whole verse again. Verse 12, page 395. Jehovah had said, even as I provided a little labor unto mortals to develop the talents I created withal, so in like manner and after the same like, but spiritually provided I greater labor unto the high risen inhabitants in my ethereal worlds. For which reason, let my children learn the secret of harmonious and united labor with one another. I gave labor to man, not as a hardship, but as a means of great rejoicing. This is good. Oh, that our brethren and sisterin could get this part together instead of warring against one another. Oh, we'd be a force to reckon with, and then we'd be able to help them that's trying to help us, right? We'd be able to help the true God that's over us. Like, look, you realize this was a mess when I got here, right? We're going to do the best we can, but we need to bring the faith that's on board with us. Like, we need to reveal to them everything that's going on, right? We need to open their eyes to everything. I know for the most part, people can't see. But we need to remove the blinders and let them know what's going on. They need to know the heavenly account so they can see why the earthly account is happening. If we do that, we think we might have a little bit more help, and we'll be able to pull the little red star out of the depths of darkness she's in, and we can get on with the getting on, right? Listen, that's our time right now. Okay, let me read 12 again. It's so good, and I'm going to keep on going. Jehovah has said, even as I provided a little labor unto mortals to develop the talents I created withal, so in like manner, and after the same like, but spiritually provided I greater labor unto the high risen inhabitants in my ethereal worlds. For which reason, let my children learn the secret of harmonious and united labor with one another. I gave labor to man, not as a hardship, but as a means of great rejoicing. And the talents I gave on corpore, I gave not to die on corpore, but to continue on forever. Right? I mean, everything we learn here, we should take it along with us forever. And the talents I gave on corpore, I gave not to die on corpore, but to continue on forever. As I gave talent for corporal mathematics, the talent for corporal buildings, even a talent for all things on corporal worlds. Even so provided I in my ethereal worlds for the same talents, but spiritually, wherein man on the corporal earth, judging the adaptability of talent to corporal things, may comprehend the nature of the labors I provided in my exalted heavens for the same talents. Yo, that makes What you're doing now is what you will be doing, right? You're going to be developing this gift for a very long time. So y'all going to see me in probably like 1,000 years. I'm going to still be teaching. I'm going to be in one of the schools. Hey, oh my God, yo, you made it. Come on in here. Listen, let me tell you everything I done found out since I done been here. Yo, I've been traveling through here. 10,000 years, my G. It's been 10,000 years since I left the Red Star. Yo, they even let me, look at all this stuff I've been keeping notes on. Look, y'all, that's how I'm going to be. Listen, let me just read this again. Verse 13, page 395. And the talents I gave on corpore, I gave not to die on corpore, but to continue on forever. As I gave talent for corporal mathematics, y'all won't see me in the math department, at least not right now. Not that I can foresee. I might be right next door. Send them on over here to English, but not speech class, not speech, because you know how bad I screwed them names up. And the talents I gave on corpore, I gave not to die on corpore, but to continue on forever. As I gave talent for corporal mathematics and talent for corporal buildings, even a talent for all things on corporal worlds, even so provided I in my ethereal worlds for the same talents, but spiritually, wherein man on the corporal earth, judging the adaptability of talents to corporal things, may comprehend the nature of the labors I provided in my exalted heavens for the same talents. Neither let any man fear that his talents may become too exalted for the work I have provided. For until he hath created a firmament and thus created suns and stars to fill it, he hath not have fulfilled his destiny. Oh my God. Listen to what this just said. Oh, get down off your high horse. Let's bring it back down. Have you created a firmament yet? Have you created a world? You ain't even at the halfway point, my G. Listen. I think before we get to actually see the Creator face to face, I think, at least in my thinking right now, right? I think we got to get to a certain, you know how you play video games and then you got to go through all of these levels before you get to fight the big boss or even see the big boss or see what the big boss look like. I think it's kind of like this, but when we get there, we ain't going to fight the big boss. It's just going to be like, Daddy, we made it. Right? But I think before we even get there, like we can hear, we get clues and stuff, we get help along the way from our other brothers and sisters who are part of the game and going through and learning part of the school. We got to go through everything that literally builds us up to make us into a true God or a true goddess, right? To even be able to I don't know the word, before we can even like actually just look upon the glory and magnificence of what he truly is. Because I don't think if we did right now, we wouldn't even be able to comprehend it. We have to first comprehend everything that has been created. And as we comprehend this little piece and this little piece, and we take this detour over here and we learn about this and this over here and how does this grow, right? When we can bring all that information together, then we might be able to halfway, maybe a quarter of the way, even just fathom what our Creator might be, right? So that's why we got to go through all these levels and all these trainings, trial and error. Y'all keep y'all hands to yourself. First thing in the morning, why? Stop it, everybody. Okay, who we at? What girl? Who's hitting you? Josiah. First of all, everybody keep their hands to themselves. What is Jackson doing? Grandbaby's over here for an extra week. Normally they just on the weekends, but you know, as it may be, they're spending the whole week. Hold on one second. Hey, listen, everybody chill out. Jackson, keep your hands to yourself. Okay. Chapter 4. Jehovah spake in the light of the throne of Ker-Casak in Veda-Puisa, saying, Lika, my son, this is my road and my journey. With thee and thy host, my voice shall travel with power. On the earth will I lay my foundation in spirit and word. Thy companion chiefs and chieftainesses shall go with thee, and they shall help deliver the inhabitants of the earth and her heavens. My enemies have marked their labors. My enemies have marked their labor. Yeah. My enemies have marked their labors in temples and pyramids. Because their hearts rose not up to me, they descended. Girl, if you call my name one more time. Go. Is Elijah woke? My. Like they don't care that I'm in here trying to read. Hold on. Listen, I'm gonna take all paper. I'm gonna take all of the paper. Who's up? How do you feel? Listen. She worked something out of mine. How about you go? Well, look, my friend. Right. Verse 2. My enemies have marked their labors in temples and pyramids. Because their hearts rose not up to me, they descended into stone, the most dead of all things. They have carried the inhabitants of the earth down to rottenness and death. Suffer their monuments to stand as testimonies of them that hated me, that denied me, that believed not in me, the all-person. My building shall be the most subtle of all things, the spirit of mine own body. Woo. Listen. My building shall be the most subtle of all things, the spirit of mine own body. Verily shall it be a monument within the souls of my chosen. Within the souls of my chosen, deep down in our shananas. My building shall be the most subtle of all things, the spirit of mine own body. Verily it shall be a monument within the souls of my chosen, nor will it go away again in darkness, but it shall encompass the whole earth. For thou shalt find my chosen a scattered people, persecuted and enslaved, the most despised of all the races of men. But I will show my power with them. I will raise them up. The things I do through them and the words I speak through them, even in their ignorance and darkness, shall become mighty. Their words shall be treasured forever, and none can match them in wisdom of speech or in the craft of good works. But the learned men of all other peoples shall be forgotten. Their wisdom be like the wind that bloweth away. The self-gods and self-lords that lead them astray shall be as a serpent that biteth itself unto death. Yea, as long as their pyramids and temples stand, their own falsehoods shall stare them in the face. They have bound themselves in their own bulwarks. They shall yet be my laborers thousands of years, to undo the evil they sowed on the earth. Excuse me. I'm read that again. They have bound themselves in their own bulwarks. They shall yet be my laborers thousands of years to undo the evil they sowed on the earth. Nor shall they look down from heaven and behold with joy their temples and pyramids, but as one beholdeth a coal of fire burning in the flesh, so shall their edifices cry out to them forever, thou false one. Sheesh. And it shall be to them as a burning fire that will not die out. And their great learning, even of the stars and the sun and moon, and of all the things of the earth, and in the waters, shall pass away and be remembered not amongst men. Yea, the names of their men of great learning shall go down, with none to remember them on the earth. And in time, long after,
Mom,
the nations of people will
Mom,
forget
I can't
them.
find a paper.
Look at my printer.
I did.
There's a lot of paper in my printer.
That's it. Get out.
Oh, well, then you have to wait, baby. Okay? All right. Yea, the names of their men of great learning shall go down. Yeah.
Where are you going out there?
Where am I going after? Nowhere. Yea, the names of their great men of learning shall go down, with none to remember them on the earth. And in time, long after, the nations of people will forget them and their wisdom, and even pity them, and say of them, what a foolish people. But my chosen, who are their slaves, and are as nothing in the world, shall speak, and their words shall not be forgotten, shall write, and their books will be a new foundation in the world, because my hand will be upon them. My wisdom shall come forth out of their mouths. And this shall be testimony in ages to come, as to what manner of knowledge endureth forever. For as the buildings of the earth remain on the earth, and the spirits of them that incline to the earth rise not up, so have I bound corpore in corpore. But as I planted the quickened spirit of man in man for spiritual knowledge, so shall spiritual knowledge look upward for an everlasting resurrection. Let me read that again. Verse 9. And this shall be testimony in the ages to come, as to what manner of knowledge endureth forever. This is how you're going to be able to tell what lasts, like what endures to the end. Listen. For as the buildings of the earth remain on the earth, and the spirits of them that incline to the earth rise not up, meaning the Druhas, fetals, and familiars, we will reincarnate. This is our place. We inherit the earth. They don't rise, right? Listen. For as the buildings of the earth remain on the earth, and the spirits of them that incline to the earth rise not up, so have I bound corpore in corpore. But as I planted the quickened spirit of man in man for spiritual knowledge, so shall spiritual knowledge look upward for an everlasting resurrection. We're always to look up, up, and away. Lika asks, O thou highest Jehovah, what are the preparations of thy gods? Wherein shall my hand be strong on the earth? Jehovah answered, saying, for 6 generations aback hath my God prepared unto thee and thy host. My voice was with my God, and I said unto him, my son, behold, the time cometh in 6 generations when I will bring the earth into another dawn of light. And in that day I will bring my son Lika from my Etherian worlds, and he shall come with a mighty host of Etherians with great power. Go thou, my son, down to the earth, and with the Lewis, thy masters of generations, and raise up an heir unto thy voice. And in 3 great divisions of the earth, provide thou 3 servants to do my will. So, my son, God of Oahspe, hath raised up unto thee, O Lika, 3 men, Capelia, Chine, and Moses, the fruit of the 6th generation in the hands of their fathers, and they are of the faithest in me, holy men and wise. These shalt thou send to the gods of their forefathers, even they who were beaten away by the gods of evil. And Capelia shall deliver the faithest of Vidu, and Chine shall deliver the faithest of Japheth, and Moses shall deliver the faithest of Egypt. And this also shalt thou put upon Moses and his people. He shall lead his people westward, and their heirs after them shall also go westward, yea, westward until they circumscribe the earth, which is here where we are now, right? Yea, westward until they circumscribe the earth. 3,400 years shalt thou allot to them to complete the journey. And wherever they go, they shall establish my name, Jehovah. They shall lead people away from all gods to believe in the Great Spirit, who I am, the only one we worship. And when they have carried my name to the west coast of Guatemala, North America, and established me, behold, I will bring the earth into Cosmon, and my angels shall descend upon the earth in every quarter with great power. And it shall come to pass that the faithest of the children of Moses shall find the faithest of the children of Chine, and the faithest of the children of Capelia. And all these people shall cry out in that day, no God, no Lord, no Savior. For my hand will be upon them, and with their words shall be my words. But they will proclaim me, the Great Spirit, the ever-present Jehovah. And they shall become the power of the world, and shall establish peace and put away war, leading all peoples in the way of peace, love, and righteousness. Creator, gang, gang, gang. All right, y'all. And I think that is a good place to start because we are at our hour mark. So we're going to pause right here. If it was Saturday, we keep on going. But we'll be back here Saturday, and we're going to keep going. Gang, gang. All right, y'all. So let me mark my page number. This is good. This is so good. Y'all can read ahead if y'all want to. Some of y'all already read it, but this is my first time reading through it, so I'm getting all the feels and everything first time, right? Sometimes I don't like to read ahead because, I want us all to experience it together, but half of y'all done already read it anyway. Some of us, we get feels for the first time, and it's just good. And look, and when we finish this, all 875 pages, we're going to be just as diligent and just as stubborn as we was when we was reading the Bible. We kept going back to the beginning, so when we get done the first time, this is just our base understanding. We just getting to know the characters, who they are. We doing exactly what I be telling y'all to do all the time. Don't go try and read it for this super spiritual revelation. First of all, get to know the folk. Find out who is who. Who is their God? Who is not their God? What they did in the family. Why you got the family splits. Who was fighting who was sleeping with who. Go through, learn the story. Read it just like a book. Understand the story. Then start over and read again, because we're going to get a whole lot that we missed the first time, right? And then we can go back and get it again. The third time is always the charm. That's when all the revelations and all that stuff start coming out that we done missed for the last couple of years. So for this moon cycle, the Sabbath is Friday. So we will not be here tomorrow, right? So if you're following the cycles of the moon, so that's when it starts, tomorrow. So we're absent here. We're not absent. We just take the day off and rest, right? So yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting your beautiful morning video. What's good, Walking family? How y'all doing? I know I'm gonna have to steal my mother for just a quick moment. So with trade school, right?
Okay, wait, we about to get into trade school. Let me just go ahead, because I was literally just about to end this. Let me just say that we'll talk about trade school in a second.
Can I end it?
Okay, just give me a second. Okay, all right, beautiful people, listen. Sabbath begins tomorrow. You can do it whether the midnight, the day change, or whatever. Look into it, observe it as you learn about it, right? If you choose to, right? Because remember, we get to choose, right? So learn about it. But yeah, tomorrow we won't be here. So normally I'll do like midnight. I still like follow the times like midnight. I don't really do from like beginning at sundown because our day begins like in the morning, like the cycle of life and just how the sun rises. We rise during the day, that's the beginning, and we retire at night, right? For me, the day doesn't begin in the evening. That it just doesn't make good, common, logical sense to me. Although people do that, and they do it how they understand it right now. But as I begin to observe nature and how things move, it to me is common sense that it does begin. We rise with the sun, right? We retire when the sun retires, or at least goes far out of our peripheral where we think it's retired, right? But it's just circling around, right? But for us, it's time to retire. So we begin the Sabbath when the sun rises, and so that's how it is. All right, so beautiful people. So thank y'all for hanging out. It is Thursday, August the 4th, 2022, day 177 of year 4, reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1195. We started in the book of Lika, son of Jehovih, in Oahspe, and we read pages 388 to 398. And if y'all didn't know, this is Jeremiah, this is Josiah, and this is Joshua, right? Okay, everybody else is through the house, so they just want to be here in the video because they're gonna fight over who gonna end the video. But anyway,
We just 3 of the legacies that they've made.
okay, thank you, sir. All right, so with that being said, may the peace of the Great Spirit, our Creator, follow you all and invade every point of your waking and sleeping life. May you be so on fire and speak only about the Great Spirit, the ever-present, that it lights up the world around you. I ain't even gonna give you a radius. May it light up the world around you, right? All right, y'all. So I see y'all. This is Jackson, little tiny, y'all be hearing in the background, along with his little tiny sister, and the other one around here somewhere. All right, so let's get out because everybody's trying to get in the video. All right, so I love y'all. I'll see y'all back here Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.